Bitcoin mining is on an absolute tear in terms of the hash rate over the last 5 years or so. There's all sorts of geopolitics that play into it. Just walk me through your analysis of how big is this thing? How important is the actual network and the hash rate? And then any of the geopolitical stuff that you see.
Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack with that right there. But when it comes to Bitcoin's hash rate, the growth of Bitcoin's hash rate is incredibly important because obviously as an asset class, we want to see it continue to succeed and be secure. So we need more machines on the network to further that. The one thing I'll say is it's incredibly resilient, right? We saw China basically cut half of Bitcoin's hash rate off the network in June. And there wasn't a hitch in the giddy up when it comes to Bitcoin. Everything still ran just as it should. Block times continued on. It was a great period of profitability for miners. And now we're starting to see the hash rate climb back up as these machines go online in different areas. But the cool thing about mining is we never know what country is going to go wacky, right? You have China that banned Bitcoin. Then you have Russia who started to constrict the energy supply to Kazakhstan. So Kazakhstan's hash rate started to fall off. So we're seeing all of these different geopolitical things that are leading to increased profitability for any miners that are plugged in, specifically those in North America that have continued to benefit from the support that they've gotten from different states like Texas and Kentucky that have really fostered the growth of mining within the US.
How much of this went from people were doing on their laptops to, hey, I got one or two, S9s or whatever kind of plugged away in a closet, to then it became like more professionalized today? Because it seems like there's really big players now. And we kind of sort of saw that beginning in China. Was the first time I went with Bitmain and some of these players where I was like, whoa, that's a big facility. Yeah. Now it feels like this is happening all over the world and people have woken up to the idea of like, I can literally just sell this energy for a very, very profitable margin. Like, talk about the sophistication today versus maybe a couple years ago.
Well, I mean, now it's an actual business that you can plan on, right? Before, I think there was still just a lot of speculation around whether or not Bitcoin would succeed. You had the real believers who continue to scale up their operations. And those are the guys and gals that went from laptops to GPUs to FPGAs to ASICs, and then focused on increasing the amount of machines that they had online. But now what's happening is you have people that have large amounts of capital that are just entering the space, and they're bum rushing the Bitmains of the world to get as many machines as they can because they already have access to capital markets. You look at some of these companies that were already publicly traded and then just pivoted into Bitcoin mining basically, and they have access to hundreds of millions of dollars. They're able to get up and running very quickly and take a substantial amount of that hash rate. And I mean, we've seen their stock prices appreciate accordingly because of how fast they were able to deploy.
And when you think about these companies, historically, they've essentially self-funded from the entrepreneur, a very small group of investors. They mined Bitcoin, then they had to sell the Bitcoin, usually a majority of it, to be able to fund operations moving forward. If they got into a bear market, they didn't have capital to kind of weather the storm. We got into the whole, death mining spiral concern, the whole thing. And usually at the bottom of the bear market, people had to tap out, right? You got below some price and just, hey, I can't operate anymore. I got to shut down. How has the capital markets changed for miners over the years as well? It seems like now people are very well capitalized. They've got access to debt markets, equity markets, and people on the investment side have woken up to this as well, which makes it much better business at the same time.
Of course. I mean, when you think about the amount of capital that's available in the United States, especially right now, that's just looking for a home, it needs to find yield somewhere, right? You talk about it all the time on the show. If you don't put your capital to work, it's going to leave you, And now you have access to those markets here in the States. All of these financial products that are available allow miners to not have to sell their Bitcoin in order to increase their operations. They can take a loan out on the value of their ASICs and then just buy more ASICs, increase their hash rate, increase their profitability. And that's what we're really seeing as a trend. Now, you did have a situation where, what was it, in March of last year, of 2020, where we had that black swan event where Bitcoin crashed because of the financial services that were available, and you had a mass liquidation event of a lot of miners in China, which led to Bitcoin's price crash. But since then, you've seen a maturity in the space that's allowed people to more accurately plan to avoid those kinds of situations now.
And when you start to think about the average person, they're not going to go raise hundreds of millions of dollars and go build, Rockdale, Texas, the big facility.
Correct, yeah.
They're not going to try to go figure out, how do I buy discounted miners from somebody shutting down in China and move it to my home country. Yep. They're like, dude, I just want to play. Right? I just like, get me in the game. I think that's where Compass comes in, right? And you've got a couple of different products. Maybe walk us through your business in terms of what does the product suite look like if somebody wants to get into the mining game?
Yeah, so when we first started, our whole idea was we wanted to be this Airbnb for Bitcoin miners, give them an easy place to source their machines, an easy place to host them at a verified facility where they could feel comfortable that they weren't going to get scammed and someone was going to run off with their hardware. They'd still get that Bitcoin directly to their wallet. And we've really just built up that product offering, which is essentially just a bundle where we sell one ASIC with a 12-month hosting contract. It allows you to get all of your Bitcoin directly to your wallet. You just pay for power every month. We also sell miners to people who want to mine at home. There are a lot of people right now who have really taken on this idea of mining KYC-free Bitcoin. And the only way that you can really do that is to mine at your house. So now there are people who are purchasing machines through Compass. We ship them directly to their door. And then they'll work with some of these consultants that are out there to retrofit their home to be able to take on these ASICs. So these are really the two main products. And then we do a lot of sales for institutions as well, funds and family offices that want to get into their own mining facilities. They don't want to host with someone else. They want to achieve that cheaper power price. So they'll come to Compass and they'll buy 1,000 to 5,000 machines, and then they'll build out their own facility.
Can you break down in terms of which is the more popular product, and like how do you think about managing your business in terms of, do you do more sales and eventually you'll build out more kind of self-hosting? Is it more self-hosting and sales is kind of a growing part? How do you think about the difference?
So our focus is retail, right? Everything else that happens is a benefit. Like we take that as a bonus, but really our focus is helping people that want to get 1 to 5 miners, buy those machines and get them hosted at a facility around the country. For this year, we've basically helped put about 45 megawatts of hosted capacity online for retail miners. It's about 95% of our business. But moving into next year, we've actually already secured 280 megawatts that's going to be available for retail miners, these people that are buying 1 to 5 machines, hosted at facilities around the US and Canada. We also will have facilities coming online in Norway, Paraguay, and we're looking at Peru.